Hey VC, what's up? It's me, yours truly. I am back to post a quick video here. Back to do a recent finds video. Just sharing with you some of the stuff that's come in over the past few weeks. Actually, one or two pieces that have been sitting down there for maybe a month or two. So usually what I do is just try to do about 12 minutes or so of video when I do a recent finds, and whatever I don't get to, I just let sit. But I just kind of realized there's some stuff that's been sitting down there for quite some time. So here are just some more recent finds, as well as two pieces of VCLT that I want to share. And let me start with the VCLT, which is a piece that I got from Dylan and Emma. And I'm sure you guys probably know them from the young members of the VC group here in the VC. But Emma's username is 8VinylLow, and Dylan's username is it the Record Spinner, I believe is his username. Both really, really cool. You know, I've actually had the pleasure of having them stop by my place one time when they were all coming through town. We got a chance to hang out one night and just kind of, spin some records and hang out and that type of stuff. And it was just really, really awesome. And yeah, really, really cool. So definitely go check them out. There's a live stream that they kind of do as well. So yeah, really, really cool stuff, really fun stuff, really great people. And they sent over this, which is kind of like a little thank you and kind of acknowledgement type of thing. As you can see there, it says Rock City Kitties, you've been picked. And the picked, kind of playing off the word there, is this little Rock City Kitties guitar pick that they sent over, which is kind of cool. And I love this kind of stuff too, because, I'm going to go get a little, baggie and put this in. This is going to be hanging up on my wall in my music room. And I love adding little things like that I, get a chance to kind of connect with other VC members and really kind of have them really become a part of my musical world. It's really, really awesome. So thanks for thinking about me, guys. Thanks for sending that over. And like I said, it was just kind of a little, just like a thank you. I mean, that's really all it was. Just kind of an appreciation for fellow music lovers and fellow VC members. So I appreciate you guys. Thanks so much for sending that. And then the second, which I guess I'll also call VCLT, is that my mom goes to yard sales with a friend all the time. And so she's always on the lookout when she sees something kind of musical or whatever else. And oftentimes I tell her, like, you don't have to call me. Like, if something's just a couple of dollars or $1 or something, like, just grab it. And if it's something I don't want, I'll just, take it to Goodwill or take it to the shop, put it in the dollar bins or whatever. Or just kind of, whatever, no big deal. And so the other day, she kind of hit a little bit of a gold mine with this one, where she found it for only $2. And it's an OG pressing of Dance to the Music by Sly and the Family Stone. Not only just kind of having an OG copy, but like you rarely see them that freaking clean, which was just awesome. And I was like, yeah, good score on that one, Mom, because not only is it one that I wanted, but like I said, even when you're kind of seeking them out, you don't tend to find them that clean, which is just fantastic. So, yeah, of course, absolute classic with Dance to the Music, Higher. I mean, just them doing what they're doing. 1968, I believe, is when this came out. So, yeah, awesome VCLT from Mom. So, appreciate that. A little Art Pepper, Modern Art. This Art Pepper quartet, I should say. This is a release from 1957. This is really kind of, a great Tone Poet release, number one. But yeah, here is just kind of your straightforward, just kind of mellow jazz kind of thing. It's just, so yeah, if you're ever curious about that, or you're into that kind of thing, or if you already, know this album, know Art Pepper anyway. But a great addition to the Tone Poet collection. And this was kind of a fun discovery too, because I saw this sitting in a dollar bin and, just kind of thought, hey, it's $1. Cover looks kind of cool. Let me just take it home and spin it and see what it sounds like. And really end up loving it. Maria Maldor, I guess how you pronounce that, Southern Winds. But yeah, this is her release from 1978. And it's kind of like a, I guess more or less it's under the Southern rock umbrella. But there are some moments that it's kind of like, that's a little poppy, that's a little disco-y, that's a little, but yeah, like I really, really ended up enjoying it. And, with the prices of vinyl these days, there used to be a time where everything was $2 or $3 and you could kind of experiment with albums. But now when you're dropping $30, $40 on an album, you kind of have to know it's something you really, really want. So, Well, it's kind of cool when there's something like this that pops up in a dollar bin that you can discover something new and end up really enjoying it. Another great new addition to the collection is this right here, which is Nation of Language, their album Strange Disciple, a band that I really just discovered. Um, if you watch that series on Netflix called You, which I think is like this, I don't know if it's the fourth season or whatever is out now, but it's a really cool series about like a serial killer kind of guy. But anyway, in this newest season that just came out, there was just this scene and this background music was on, and I was like, is that Depeche Mode? Like, because you're trying to hear over the rest of what's going on. And so then I decided to wait till the end and looked at the credits, and there was no music credits there. So then I went back and I was trying to listen to see if I could hear the lyrics, so I could maybe Google the lyrics. And long story short, I discovered it was this band called Nation of Language. And I guess the only thing I can say about this is that if you are an 80s fan, you need to check this album out. This is one of those modern groups. This came out in 2023 that is totally embracing what made the 80s awesome. But like I said, just the fact that I got any type of a Depeche Mode vibe from that song, I think it was Walk in Your Light was the name of the song. Just the fact that there was even a Depeche Mode vibe that came off of it. And you listen to the rest of the album, there's some of these moments where you're like, that is totally Thompson Twins. Like, that's... So a lot of 80 flavor that's inside of this, and I really, really loved it. So new band, new discovery for me. Highly recommend checking them out if you dig any of the stuff that I was just talking about. And it's one of those albums that you can, get for 20-something bucks too. It's not like anything crazy expensive, which is awesome. But totally discovered them from that show. More new tone poets being added to the collection here. Sorry, kind of trying to get the glare out of there. Kenny Burrell and Art Blakey, and this is on view at the 5 Spot Cafe. The Complete Masters 3 LP set. I think this was recorded in 1959. Now, I'm not very familiar with this particular album. I mean, I've heard tons of Kenny Burrell, and I've obviously heard tons of Blakey. But this is going to kind of be a new discovery, so it's going to be fun to kind of check out a new jazz album that has never crossed my path before. And those Tone Poet pressings are always fantastic. And then we have another great addition here, which is a Tin Machine, which is kind of that, Bowie project back in 1989. I think is when this came out. This came into the shop like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it was kind of cool because it came in, and I assumed like, we show it in a drop video, and we put it out first thing Saturday morning, and I figured it was going to be gone. And we kind of have this rule that when we put something, that's kind of nice out or rare, so to speak, on that Saturday morning, we always like to leave it there all day to make sure that all of our customers have a chance to get to it first. And by the time I left, just a couple hours before close, it was still sitting there. And I was like, wow, I thought it would. But, so I went ahead and grabbed it. So that's a Tin Machine. It's not all of a sudden going to be my favorite Bowie-related album, but at the same time, there is some cool stuff on here, and it's just not one that pops up very often at all. So a great addition to the Bowie collection. And more of the Analog Production 75, Bad Company. This is Burning Skies from 1976. Just, another great album with Paul Rodger at the helm. Just one of the greatest, just kind of straight-up rock singers of all time. None of their like bigger commercial hits off of this one, but it's just Bad Company doing the rock that they do. So another awesome Analog Productions edition there. Duran Duran, the Wedding album. This is the release from, sorry about the glare, guys. This is the release from 1993. This is not an original pressing. But yeah, really, really cool album. I've always loved that. Two of my favorite Duran Duran tracks is Come Undone and Ordinary World. I think it's 2 of their top 10 singles in their entire career. And so it's so awesome that is still what was happening in the 90s with as big as they were through the 80s or early 80s, mid 80s and so forth. Just really kind of shows their staying power and some of the amazing music that they made. But yeah, glad to have that on vinyl and get that in the Duran Duran collection. More Tone Poets here. A little poppin' Hank Mobley. And this is Mobley's release from 1957. And, you know, again, just like every other seems Tone Poet album, or I should say Blue Note album, you know, Hank Mobley, Paul Chambers on bass, Philly Joe Jones on drums, Sonny Clark on piano. It's just like over and over and over. It's like the same 40 guys just making amazing album after album after album after album. And so that's a Hank that I didn't have. And kind of staying on the audiophile side of things, Whitney Houston, you know, we got a release from MoFi off her debut album from 1985. You know, another really, really great album here. You know, You Give Good Love and Saving All My Love, I think, were the two big hits off of this one. But yeah, you know, Whitney, when she made her debut and knocked it out of the park. So I do have a beautiful original pressing of this. I'm going to be kind of curious to see, you know, from a sound perspective, how those two line up with each other. Next here, Jack Wagner, All I Need. For those of you maybe that grew up in the 80s, Jack Wagner, I think he was a big soap opera star, if I remember correctly. And just like so many, you know, Don Johnson and the guy who played Tibbs in Miami Vice and Eddie Murphy and, you know, Jack Wagner, like so many others that thought in the 80s, because I'm a big actor, I can just jump right over into the music world and it's just going to work. And he was another guy that did that. And he had a little tingling of a hit with All I Need off of this album, but, you know, it's just another one of those. But yeah, it's a fun track, and I've never actually seen this album, so when I saw it pop up, I was like, yeah, let me grab it, because I remember that very well. And kind of like I like about my collection, you know, I'll go from Jack to Compton's Most Wanted, straight checking them. This is their release from 1991. Excuse me. Of course, MCA was probably the biggest MC off of this particular album. And of course, the song, I think Growing Up in the Hood's probably the biggest hit off of this one. Appeared in a couple of movies and that type of thing. So another cool one to add to the hip hop collection. And the last three I'll show here. Zap 5, also Vibe. This was really cool because as big as a fan I am of Zap, I had no idea there was a Zap 5. I knew about 1, I knew about 2, knew about 3, knew about 4, knew about the greatest hits, knew about Roger's singles album. I had no idea there was a 5. And so, again, stumbled across this a few weeks ago in a sealed copy nonetheless. And yeah, just one of the ultimate electric funk, you know, Roger with the voice box type of thing. I mean, just slamming stuff. So glad to discover a new album that I just had no clue about. And the last two, Jimmy Page and the Black Crowes. You know, this came out a couple months ago or something like that. I know a lot of people at the shop, they lost their mind and was just like so freaking excited about it. It was just one of those live albums I just wasn't really that familiar with, but, you know, with all the excitement around it, I kind of checked it out and, yeah, I mean, kind of dug it. So we had a number of copies left a few weeks after, so I thought I'd go ahead and grab one. Besides, I mean, I love Page and love the Black Crowes, so it's hard to go wrong there in the first place. And the last one is a little Lana Del Rey, Ultraviolence. I actually picked this up a couple of months ago. It's kind of been sitting over there for a while. But I'm not the biggest fan of hers, but if I had to choose a favorite album, this is probably my favorite album of hers. I actually had that Urban Outfitters exclusive. And, you know, when I saw what those were going for online, I decided just to go ahead and sell it because I wasn't that big of a fan. I just picked it up, you know, years ago, and I mean, they were selling for like $250, $260 or something like that. So I sold it and figured, hey, I'll get a reissue at some point in time, and we had a used one finally come along. So that's a little Lana. So there you go, VC. As always, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for checking out the channel. Let me know what you think, and we will talk to you soon. All right, take care, guys.